Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're diving into something, well, something I think you're already familiar with.
Okay.
It's routines.
Yeah.
You've even mentioned to me how helpful routines have been in your own life, and
Absolutely.
we're going to kind of go beyond the basics here.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at how routines work throughout our lives, from those first few years all the way to later adulthood. And I think you're going to find some fascinating insights that might change how you think about structuring your day-to-day life.
It really is incredible how much our brains, even from infancy, are just wired to seek that order and that predictability.
Yeah.
You know, you think about a toddler.
Yeah.
Their world is a constant stream of new sights and sounds and smells, and it can be just completely overwhelming.
Right.
So routines actually act as a sort of anchor,
Okay.
creating a sense of safety and security.
Interesting.
That's really essential for healthy development.
That makes a lot of sense, because I've heard people say that toddlers thrive on consistency. But I never really connected it to, like, their brain development.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the routines aren't just making life easier for parents.
Right.
They're actually shaping how kids experience the world.
Exactly. And this need for predictability doesn't just disappear as we get older.
Right.
It evolves and adapts
Okay.
to all the different stages of life.
Interesting.
So if we take those early years, at ages 1 to 3, those consistent sleep schedules and meal times
Yeah.
aren't just about, like, you know, keeping kids on track, but it's actually laying the foundation for their self-regulation skills.
You know, now that you mention it, I remember reading about how a regular bedtime routine, like bath book quiet time,
Yeah.
around the same time each night signals to a toddler's brain that it's time to wind down.
Yeah.
It's like setting their internal clock.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
You know, it's really fascinating how those seemingly simple actions can have such a profound impact on a child's developing nervous system.
Wow.
Now let's fast forward a few years. Imagine a child who's now navigating the world of school and homework, maybe even extracurriculars.
Right.
And suddenly there are all these demands on their time and their attention.
Oh, I can only imagine
Right.
the after-school chaos.
Exactly.
Trying to get my niece to, like, focus on homework after a busy day at school is like,
Oh, yeah.
well, let's just say it wasn't always peaceful.
It sounds familiar,
Yeah.
but this is where routines become even more crucial.
Okay.
Having that consistent after-school routine, you know, like snack downtime, homework, maybe some play, provides that much needed structure. And it helps kids manage their time and responsibilities so much better.
So it's almost like those routines are the antidote to the chaos that I was just describing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And, you know, beyond that, it fosters a sense of responsibility and independence, which is essential as children are growing and maturing.
So it's not even just about getting things done.
Right.
It's about equipping them with the skills they need to navigate life.
It is.
That's powerful.
And these principles continue to hold true as kids enter adolescence.
Okay.
Of course, teenagers crave independence,
Yeah.
but even they benefit from a degree of structure and routine.
I bet that's a tough balance to strike, though.
It is.
You know, giving teenagers that freedom they want while also making sure they have the support and structure they need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, for example, take study habits.
Okay.
A consistent study schedule, even if it's just for a short period each day,
Right.
can make a world of difference in terms of their academic performance and stress management.
It's funny because you'd think teenagers would resist routines.
You would. Yeah.
You think they think it was something their parents were putting on them?
Right.
But it sounds like it actually empowers them to take control of their lives.
Exactly. And let's not forget about sleep.
Oh, right, because that's when they think they can stay up all night
Yeah.
and sleep until noon.
Exactly.
But they need that regularity, maybe even more than adults.
They do. Their bodies and brains are still developing, and adequate sleep is essential for everything from their cognitive function to emotional regulation.
That's right.
So consistent sleep and wake times, even on the weekends, are absolutely crucial for teenagers.
Wow. Okay, so if we've talked about toddlers, we've talked about kids, we've talked about teens.
Right.
Let's shift gears and talk about adulthood, where things can get really complex.
They do.
We're juggling work, family, personal commitments.
It's a lot to handle.
It's a lot. Some days it feels like I'm constantly spinning plates just hoping they don't come crashing down.
You know, that's a feeling that many adults can relate to.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Research suggests that routines can be a secret weapon for us grown-ups,
That way.
helping us manage stress, boost productivity, and just improve our overall quality of life. I bet you've seen this in your own life.
It's funny you should mention that because I actually recently started a morning routine. Just a simple one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a quick workout, healthy breakfast, a few minutes of meditation.
Nice.
And I have to say it's made a huge difference. I feel more energized and focused and just ready to tackle the day.
That's fantastic to hear, and it highlights a key point. Routines aren't about being rigid or robotic. They're about creating a framework that supports your well-being and helps you achieve your goals. And what's remarkable is that this concept applies across the lifespan, from those early years all the way to later adulthood.
Okay, so we've seen how routines benefit toddlers and kids and teens.
Right.
What about older adults as people navigate retirement, potential health changes, maybe even shifts in their social circles?
Absolutely.
Do routines still play a big role?
They do. In fact, they might even become more crucial during this stage of life.
Wow.
As individuals transition into later adulthood, routines can provide a sense of purpose and stability amidst all those changes that come with aging.
Right.
And we know that physical activity is essential throughout life,
Yeah.
but it becomes particularly important for older adults.
Because staying active helps with everything.
It doesn't.
From maintaining mobility and strength to preventing cognitive decline.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
incorporating regular exercise into a daily routine, even something as simple as a brisk walk or some gentle yoga, can have a profound impact on an older adult's physical and mental health.
Right. And it's not just about physical health either. It's about social connections.
It is. As people get older, their social circles might shrink.
Yeah.
So it's even more important to be intentional about staying connected.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so scheduled social activities, whether it's visiting friends or volunteering in the community or joining a book club,
Right.
can help combat loneliness and promote mental well-being.
So important.
And speaking of staying on track,
Okay.
a consistent routine for taking medications is crucial for older adults.
Right.
Ensuring proper dosage and helping prevent medication errors.
It's amazing how those basic principles of routine building apply across the entire lifespan.
It is.
From toddlers to older adult, it's like this universal language of well-being. But for those of us who are just starting to build better routines or who are looking to fine-tune the ones we have, do you have any specific tips or strategies that you recommend?
Absolutely. And they're surprisingly simple.
Okay.
One of the most important things to remember is to start small.
Okay.
You don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Yeah.
Begin with 1 or 2 key routines. Maybe it's your morning routine or your bedtime routine.
Right.
And gradually add more as you feel comfortable.
That makes a lot of sense because it's like building a muscle. You wouldn't start by lifting heavy weights on day one.
Exactly.
You'd gradually increase the weight and intensity over time.
You would.
Same with routines.
Exactly. Consistency is key. Try to stick to your routines as much as possible, even on the weekends or on holidays,
Okay.
to really solidify those habits. But remember, life happens, so be prepared to adjust.
Right. So routines should be supportive.
Right.
Not like these rigid chains that hold us back.
Exactly.
It's about finding that sweet spot between structure and flexibility.
Precisely. And don't forget to make your routines enjoyable.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, if you dread doing something, you're less likely to stick with it. So find ways to incorporate activities that you genuinely enjoy into your routine.
Like if you hate running,
Yeah.
forcing yourself to go for a jog every morning is probably not going to work out too well.
Exactly. Find something that brings you joy and that you can look forward to doing.
Right.
And finally, don't forget to track your progress. Use a planner or a calendar or a habit tracking app to monitor your routine and celebrate your successes.
Yeah.
It's a great way to stay motivated and see how far you've come.
That's such a good point. It's like you have a visual reminder of your commitment and your progress.
Exactly.
Which can be so empowering. I'm really struck by how much ground we've covered in this deep dive.
Me too.
From the neurological underpinnings of routines in early childhood to like the practical tips for building better routines as adults.
It's amazing.
It's clear that this topic is multifaceted and fascinating.
It really is. Routines are often overlooked,
Yeah.
but they truly are the foundation of a balanced and fulfilling life, regardless of your age or stage of life.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired to take my routine game to the next level.
Me too.
But before we get too carried away, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll dive into some more specific strategies and insights for building routines that actually work for you. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
We'll be right back after this break.
And we're back, diving even deeper into this world of routines. Before the break, we were talking about some really practical tips for building routines, and
Yeah.
the one that really stood out to me was starting small.
Absolutely. It's such a crucial point when it comes to forming new habits, including routines, taking those baby steps can really make all the difference. Trying to revamp your entire life all at once can be just so overwhelming
Right.
and honestly, often unsustainable.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, focus on making small, incremental changes that you can gradually build upon over time. So like instead of, say, trying to implement a whole new morning routine tomorrow,
Right.
maybe start by just incorporating one new element, like 5 minutes of meditation or a quick stretch.
Precisely. Select one area where you feel like you could benefit from a little more structure and concentrate on establishing a simple routine there.
Okay.
For instance, if you often find yourself procrastinating at bedtime,
Yeah.
perhaps start by setting a consistent sleep schedule and sticking to it for a week. And once that feels comfortable,
Right.
you can gradually add other elements to your bedtime routine, like reading a book or taking a relaxing bath.
I love that concept of like building that momentum step by step.
Yeah.
It feels so much less daunting and like you're way more likely to succeed.
It is.
What about connecting routines to personal goals
I think that's a great idea.
to kind of boost that motivation?
Absolutely. Having a clear why behind your actions makes it much easier to stay committed, even when that motivation dips.
Yeah.
So take some time to reflect on what you hope to achieve by incorporating routines into your life. Do you want to improve your health, enhance your productivity, or simply create more peace and balance?
It's almost like setting a clear intention for your day, your week, even your whole life.
Right.
And it kind of ties back into what we were talking about earlier with tracking progress.
It does.
It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about acknowledging those small victories and seeing how far you've come.
Absolutely. Tracking your progress can be incredibly motivating, whether you prefer using a planner, a habit tracker, or simply jotting down notes in your journal. Just find a method that resonates with you and commit to it. You'll be amazed by how even those seemingly small achievements can fuel your motivation to keep going.
Sometimes I found that it helps to even involve other people,
Oh, yeah.
like sharing your goals or your progress with a friend or a family member, or even a support group can provide that extra layer of accountability and encouragement.
That's such a valuable point. Having a supportive network can make a world of difference, especially when you encounter those inevitable challenges or setbacks,
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people who champion your aspirations and never hesitate to seek help or guidance when needed.
It's like having your own personal cheering section.
It is.
It reminds me of what you were saying earlier about sharing our personal stories and experiences.
Yeah.
And how it can inspire others to hear how routines have positively impacted our lives.
Certainly when we open up about our journeys, both the triumphs and the struggles, we foster a sense of connection and normalize the challenges of habit formation.
Yeah.
It's empowering to realize that we're not alone in this pursuit of positive change.
Speaking of personal experiences, have you found that routines have helped you create space for things that truly matter to you?
Absolutely. When you have established routines, you free up mental energy and time to focus on activities that bring you joy, purpose, and connection. It could be anything from spending quality time with loved ones to pursuing creative passions or simply indulging in moments of quiet reflection.
So it's not just about maximizing efficiency or productivity.
Right.
It's about fostering a more intentional and fulfilling life.
Precisely.
Have you seen any changes in your own life since you started implementing routines?
It's funny you should ask. I used to feel like I was constantly chasing my tail.
Yeah?
Struggling to juggle work deadlines with personal commitments. It was exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But once I started incorporating those simple routines into my life, things started to shift. I felt calmer, more focused, and more in control of my time.
It's amazing how something as simple as a routine
Yeah.
can have such a profound impact on our well-being.
It really can.
I know I've experienced similar benefits in my own life.
Yeah.
As we've been discussing all these different aspects of routines, I'm struck by how much we've covered.
Me too.
From those neurological underpinnings of routines in early childhood
Right.
to these strategies for incorporating them into our adult lives.
Absolutely.
We've really explored a lot.
We have.
And I think it's clear routines are a powerful tool for creating a more balanced, fulfilling, and meaningful life,
Yes.
regardless of our age or stage of life.
I agree.
But before we wrap things up, I'd love to give our listeners a really concrete takeaway, something that they can implement right now to enhance their own lives.
That's a fantastic idea. How about we challenge our listeners to reflect on one area where a routine could make a significant difference?
I love that it could be anything from establishing a consistent sleep schedule to carving out dedicated time for exercise,
Right.
or even creating a more mindful morning routine.
Right.
The key is to choose something that resonates with their individual needs and goals.
Exactly. And as we've emphasized throughout this deep dive, start small, be consistent, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Building better routines is a journey, not a destination.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. But before we say goodbye, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners? I think that's a really great challenge for our listeners. Is there anything else that comes to mind about routines that we haven't touched on yet?
Well, one thing that stands out to me is that while routines are about structure,
Yeah,
they're also about making space for the things that truly matter to you.
that's a great point. It's
Yep.
like designing a life that reflects your values.
Exactly. When you have solid routines in place, you free up mental energy and time to focus on activities that bring you joy, purpose, connection.
Yeah.
It could be spending quality time with loved ones,
Right.
pursuing a creative passion,
Yeah.
or simply enjoying moments of quiet reflection.
So it's not just about maximizing efficiency or productivity.
No.
It's about fostering more intentional and fulfilling life.
Precisely. Routines can be a pathway to greater well-being,
I love that.
both personally and professionally.
Well, on that inspiring note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into routines. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly motivated to examine my own routines and see where I can make some tweaks.
I'm feeling energized as well. It's been a fascinating exploration.
It really has. A huge thank you to you for sharing all of your incredible insights, and to our amazing listeners for joining us on this journey into the world of routines. We hope you've gained some valuable knowledge and practical tips that you can apply to your own life.
Absolutely. And remember, even small changes can make a big difference. Start small, be consistent, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Well said. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any thoughts or questions about routines, please feel free to reach out. Until next time, happy routine building.
This is DigitView.